Hi, I'm Cesar de la Cruz with the Tolleson-Mack podcast. Today I'm with Oscar Duran, resident of Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Las Cruces, New Mexico, yes, sir.
Perfect. Perfect, man. I come over here today to talk to you about some of these cattle and kind of a in-depth what goes on from when they come from Mexico, crossing the border, and to we're here at the Royal Crown. You and Zincanel are you got the cattle, Matt's producing the Royal Crown event here, and we can talk about that partnership and how that kind of started.
Yes, sir. Well, it all started maybe I met Zhang a couple of years ago. Maybe we're talking about that over 10 years. Then Zhang became a good friend of mine. And I've been blessed to be around Zank and the Royal Crown, the whole family, Levi O'Keefe. He's been a big blessing to me.
Sure.
They made a big difference. It was being able to work for them. Like I said, right now, it's been a blessing. Um, I started doing this with them 2 years ago, putting cattle together for them. We put the cattle together and, piece up. We started off doing the crew work for him, working the gates, we started off on the back. And then me and Zach had talked about putting cattle together. My family's originally from Mexico.
Okay.
We come from Mexico. I was raised up there till I was almost 10 years old, then came to the States, and like I said, I was able to come through, meet good people, and then we started off with this cattle deal. And
Did you say these cattle come from the Golden Triangle?
these cattle, yes, sir, like I told you, Caesar, we get them up there from the deep region of Mexico, which is the town called Urique,
Urique.
Hualpi, Calvo,
Okay.
Huachochi. That's one of the main regions where these cattle are raised from.
Perfect.
That's where it come. That's what we were talking about. Those videos we were showing you last time, a couple of days ago.
That's pretty neat how they come from way up in the mountains and like you said they gather them afoot sometimes.
Yeah, all this cattle, like I said, everything that gets cowboyed, it gets cowboyed by foot. Nothing gets cowboyed by horse. It's they come from a real tough country. Um, Everything's a lot different. It's a whole different experience when you go through this process. From them cattle to get to where we got them. Like I showed you the process that we go through the border, from the mountains to the border, to breaking them in, to have them here. It's a pretty cool process.
For sure. And like we're gonna show you videos of the mountains where they come from and crossing them across the border. Talk to the people that don't understand that. Like, what's the process to cross a Mexican steer across the border? Once you get them off the mountains, get them shipped to the border.
Well, see,
What's the process to that?
the process when it starts, we get them down from the mountains. We get them stand up. They go through the castration. They go through a process. It's a 30-day process for a steer to be able to get the first vaccination. They go through 3 tests. These steers go through almost close to anywhere from 25 to 50 days in Mexico. Then you get them ready. They go through a TB test. They get down to the border. A lot of these cattle, a bunch of them, like I said, been hauled 23 hours to get to the border.
That's amazing.
And you can't just get them and bring them in and say you're going to rope them. It doesn't work that way. We get them in, we put them in the pen. We try to hold them for anywhere from 120 days, 90 days. Sometimes it's not possible. Like I said, before we got over here, we got a load, and I think we peeled about 25 that we brought over here. And it's kind of stressful for a cow to come in and, go through the process of this. But, like I was showing you, when we go back home, we get them, they get through the border, we stand them up, we give them about, like I say, anywhere from 190 days. And then we take when we broke in these steers, I'm saying it was about 4 weeks ago.
Wow.
We went through almost 500 head.
You were talking to me about the feeding program. You talked to listeners a little bit about the feeding program you got.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So going over there when I was in college, I went to a few college rodeos and stuff, going to the jackpots. They
Yes,
feed
sir.
their cattle chili out there a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And people that don't know that cattle do really good on chili. So talk about the feeding program.
Yeah, we got
you have at the
we
house.
got a feeding program back home, and like I told Zank, it's kind of hard whenever you have this much amount of cattle. You put anywhere from 5 loads, 6 loads of cattle. You're talking a pretty big
About
amount.
600 head right
Yes,
there.
600 head.
plus.
Yes, sir. And for you to be feeding a program of rich hay or expensive feed nowadays, everything's pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
So for us to work, we were able to get a program where back home we're blessed to have a lot of chili farms
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
where we're able to get some chili, and it worked for us. The main thing that we use is the main product, which is cattle active, and that's one of Zhang's main
Yes.
main go-to right there. And as you can see, and I try to show everyone, they're like, what does it do for it? And I'm like, this is what it does for the cattle.
It encourages them to eat and drink, correct?
Yeah. Oh, it encourages them just to feel good.
Yeah. Feel good.
Feeling good. When the cattle feel good, it's gonna perform good. It's like anything else, Cesar.
When you come to a Royal Crown event, this is my favorite thing about it. They're trying to show the horse and see what the horse can do.
Exactly.
Out of 4 steers, the steers are fresh.
Yes, sir.
And they're a little bit tough, so you get to see what that horse can handle throughout the day.
Exactly.
And so that's like, I feel like you can have a really, really nice, really broke-in set of steers that are older, but I don't think you can show a horse as good.
No,
Like you got a fresh steer that maybe is slow down, maybe a step to the left,
Exactly.
maybe a little bit funny around the corner where the healer needs to take a couple swings around there. This pen of cattle, when you come to a Royal Crown event, you get to test your horse and yourself, and usually the best man wins.
What is like Zhang's is this is where people are able to show their horse.
Exactly.
Because you get steers, there's good steers, fresh steers that like I said, we've had them since day one.
Mm-hmm.
Zhang's has an operation where he's able to have cattle in his hands now, but been able to been blessed where he has the cattle since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
We're not using cattle that been through other rodeos or no other jackpots. Everything that these people are seeing, these professional trainers bring their big high-end horses. They're able to show their horses with good cattle, fresh cattle.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. So tell me about, so they cross the border and you spend some time with them at the house. You get them broke in. They come to an event like this.
Well, this is the deal. When like I was talking to you about, we'll go back to Bobby Joe Hill.
Yes, sir.
And they have Zank also takes steers up there, Chase Honey. They come around whenever we get a set. We let Bobby Joe Hill come around and he picks out the best set. Whatever goes, he's picking out for his major ropings or his major rodeos that he has going on. He picks out. So we keep almost everything that's the bottom end.
Mm-hmm.
Not the bottom end. We keep the number seconds and the number
Mm-hmm.
threes. And we put some out in pasture. Then we bring them back, and then we even them out. Like I said, this is not all the cattle we have. We had a little bit more back home, where we have to sort through them to be able to have this right here.
Yes, sir. And so, like, you got the A team, the B team, and the C team.
Yes, sir.
For people that don't know, Bobby Joe Hill is picking out cattle for the National Finals Rodeo. We're at February. They cross them, they get them. They're looking for horn size and steer size in particular. So, like I said, that's what really goes on to getting a really good steer at the National Finals Rodeo. It starts in February from a guy like Oscar. And so, so when you come to a roping like this, and then after this event, you got them sold, you say, to Tayos, Bobby Joe Hill, some of these guys that need M brand cattle.
Yes, sir. A bunch of these steers right here, like I said, once they come here, most of them end up in another place. Though, like I said this morning, I had a talk with Kevin Restaurant, and right after we're done with today, we'll end up sending a set up there to Wickenburg. They're getting them ready out there for the title fights.
Yes.
And so these steers, before they get down here, they go through a break process, and that's what people got to understand. That before they go to any jackpot or whatever, these steers go through a lot.
Yes, sir.
Because after this, they're still going to go through a whole different process.
Yes, sir. And like I said, when you come to Arizona and some of these places that Bobby Joe Hill produces, the big opens in Texas, the National
for sure
Rodeo, you can have the very best stock, and it starts from the Golden Triangle out there in Mexico, and I just think that's pretty.
No, it's a cool deal because, like I was talking to you and Brandon about earlier, that I want you guys to go out there with me.
We will.
I want you guys to go see it, and you able to see, like me and guy that he helps us out a lot. We went up there and we did actually we thought about we cowboy back home. We ride a bunch of horses, and we spend 8-9 hours on a horse going through our cattle. And we went up there. We spent 4 hours walking on the hills, And you know that was a whole different experience for us to be able to go through something like that. And like I told Brandon, I want you guys to have the full experience. That way, when you see these cattle, I see them like they're like my kids.
Well, and that's a beautiful thing about it. And then, like you say, you take a little pride whenever they show up at a roping and people say, "Hey, that's a good steer, a good set of cattle." You know, it's a good strong
Yes,
set
sir.
of cattle. That's
And I'm gonna tell you, not every like we can't promise all the cattle are gonna be, because there's some that don't have the heart, or they're not gonna make the cut. But we try for all of them to work the same.
so we're at an event where they train some of the very best horses in the world. They got Miles Bakers here and Dakota Kirchlager here. And so we talked about sometimes the ones that are a little bit slower.
Yes,
We
sir.
talked to Mr. Bill Myers, who's
Oh, yes,
owns
sir.
Frenchman's Guy, and he to train his horses. His horses are they're racehorse types. They run really really fast. So he wants almost the D team, the ones that we talked about. Maybe
Yes.
they don't have the heart to be
But number one at the moment,
yes, sir.
you know,
And then so they're gonna go down a little bit on the list, and they still have a home.
they still have a home.
Mr. Bill's gonna take them and train.
Oh yeah, that's what Zach was talking about this morning, and he said we were gonna sort out some for Mr. Myers. He's like, we're gonna slow it. We need the slow end.
Yeah.
So nothing goes back home. And the only thing that will go back home is something that which we try not to have, is just something that would have an accident.
Oscar, I've trained horses before, and like I've trained horses on native cattle that are raised out here, and the Mexican cattle, like you talked about, they've been worked on foot. They've been worked in Mexico, in the corrals and stuff. When you get them over here, to bring them up, they're a lot easier to show the back end and stuff. I just feel like these kind of cattle, you can train horses, and when you come to a show, you're kind of prepared to show your horse in these kind of cattle.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like 2 years ago when me and Zhang started, when I started helping him, I think we showed up with a set of natives. Me and Blu-ray worked for this guy for 4 years, and that's what we ran. We ran a cattle operation of pure natives, and we set up an operation for natives. They don't work nearly close to what these Mexicans work like.
A little harder to work.
Harder work. They're tough on your work, on your help, and they're tough on your horses.
Yes, sir.
And that's when Zhang said it's not going to work. We need to figure out how we could have all Mexican cattle, where our events, I believe the Royal Crown has been the only fraternity right now that's had
Yes, sir.
strictly Mexicans.
And that's why I think people come here, because
Yes.
you're dealing with the very best in the world, very best horse in the world on the very best cattle.
No, that's
you can find.
that's what Zhang, they know what these guys, what the Royal Crown does for these trainers and these owners that have these high-ended horses. It takes a lot for them. Like we're just talking how much it costs.
Yeah.
If you put it together,
When you put it all together, you're gonna probably spend $1,000 plus for a nice steer that you rope out a Royal Crown event.
No, for sure. Like just at the border, they're costing close to $1,000. They're over $1,000 right now for them to be. When we have the freight, the manpower in them, you got already over $100 in them. And that's why people gotta, they gotta see what it takes for you to have this type of event.
What does it take as in the mornings? Like I want to give the listeners and the viewers, when you're at your house, what is required a job to take care of 600 head, 1,000 head of cattle? You probably get up in the morning, sunrise, and you don't go to bed till the sun sets.
It's like everything else. I told a guy, he said, I want to be a cowboy that hit. No, it's not only being a cowboy. It takes more than that. You got to love it. You got to love it. And and I'm going to, like I seen you this morning, we get up at 5:30 in the morning to see our cattle. We're lucky to have a good team. We're blessed. Like I said, we're blessed to all we're like family, and everybody works together. And, you get up early in the morning, we get up, and I tell Blu-ray, we're going up there. We're the first ones. We leave here at 6, go get us a shower at the Loves. We want to get us a good shower. And you're the first one we see in the light. And I said, there he is. There's, Cesar. And I remember yesterday when I was out there flagging, I told you, come back, and you'll be like, I'll be here at 6 in the morning.
I get excited to rope fresh Mexican cattle, man. I really do. I've been breaking them in ever since I was a kid. Whenever I'd get the call, Uncle George got a set of steers we need to break in for the, the two-backer open back then. Now it's the Mike Survey now.
Oh yeah.
I used to just love that
See,
stuff.
a bunch of these cattle right here that some of them going to be at the Tucson Rodeo.
Yes, sir.
So we're out here. Everybody does their job. Right now, what we do is we're gonna sort a load off. Right, like I said, load off goes to Wickenburg, and then tomorrow we'll sort off a load that goes to the Tucson Rodeo. So all these steers, they're all gonna be, they all go through a brick process. They all go through a big old stress, and it's hard. When somebody draws one bad, they got to understand that it's part of the game.
It is really part of the game, and if you stay hooked enough and you're roping sharp, it doesn't last for long. There's it really is part of the game. You get 50 head of steers. They talk about the NFR and stuff, and you're trying to get that many cattle that are even. It is one of the most difficult things to do because they might be good in like this place, then you hold even 3-4 hours. It stresses them out just a little bit. You might have one that just kind of slows down. It doesn't match the herd anymore.
Yeah, they won't make it. Or like Bobby Joe we were talking this past Tuesday. He was at the border. He picked up a load and he said, Oscar, from here on, this is where I start getting from here, ready for the finals. Right.
It's crunch time for me. It's February. Yeah, it's crunch time for the National Finals Rodeo in December.
Yes, sir. And like I said, it's not only the finals, but we got rodeo. He has Rodeo Houston. He has a bunch of major rodeos that's coming his way where, he's able to come down to where we're at and, handpick the best steers that they need for those events.
That's awesome. Well, Oscar, I know you're a busy man.
No, Cesar, it was a blessing talking to you and Brandon.
Man, I know it's quite the process to get the steers out here, and I really wanted to let the listeners in and the viewers in on what really goes down to get these good 10-brand cows.
In April, we're gonna go through a process where I want you guys to go out there, and I told you and Brandon that I want you to go out there and break in steers with us.
Perfect. Yes, sir.
You'll be able to see more, and I'll give you more of the groundwork, and I'll show you the videos and everything we've been doing out there.
Perfect. Well, I'd like to get to talk to Levi and Zank and talk to them a little bit. Yes, thank you so much for your time and really appreciate it.
Cesar.
Take it easy, everybody. Thank you from the Tolleson-Mack podcast team.